Hey, all you food lovers. We're sitting in a restaurant at the corner of Kemp's Corner in South Mumbai with the owner and telling you all about how a restaurant business got started. So let me introduce you to Nishek Jain. Hey Nishek,
Hi.
welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chetna.
And tell us, you're this engineer turned restaurateur, very exciting. How did that change happen for you?
So the idea of 29 was conceived during the transition period of me relocating from Germany to India, because we Indians, we've been in pursuit of global cuisine all through our lives. We've been in pursuit of excellent Mexican food, Italian food.
Right.
Very little is known about what is being made in Meghalaya, in Mizoram, in Jharkhand, Manipur, Bihar.
Yeah, when we do Indian, we think of typical North Indian Mughlai
Yes.
sambar.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the other states? And they're all excellent in their own ways.
Yeah.
So the idea was to integrate this all under one roof, and that was how the concept of 29 evolved over the years.
Yeah, so tell us, you went to Germany, you did this engineering, you worked at a multinational company.
Yes.
Now you came back to India and you said, I want to integrate all of this cuisines into one restaurant.
But it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, yeah.
It wasn't easy, but the transition that happened from an engineer being into an entrepreneur for the family and then eventually getting solo and being an entrepreneur for myself,
Right.
It happened over 2 years. So, and none of it was planned, because me coming back to India was very, very sudden because of certain health issues in my father's health. And then over the next 2 years, I gradually got myself into a comfort zone of getting into this industry.
So what was that turning point for you?
I would say the realization of me being a foolish Indian was the trigger that made me end up into this industry. One evening I was just traveling through Bihar and I was at the Patna airport and I happened to have a meal which had litti chokha in it.
Okay.
Now it's a dish which is being made in northern UP and Bihar for about 300 years. And Chetna, I'd never heard about it.
I haven't either.
Right? I was sitting at the airport and I'm thinking in my mind, I know 17 items from Mexico, I know 11 from Italy, I know 13 from Lebanon, but I don't know something which is made for 300 years in this country. It's a long time. It's generations and generations. And that actually dawned this idea that if one Bihar can have one item that I don't know, there are 28 other states which would have at least 28 items which I don't know.
Yeah.
So the idea of 29 was precisely this. I wanted to get the regional cuisines of all the 29 states of our country under one roof. And when I say 29 states, I imply 32, because Sindhis, Parsis and Boris, these are three communities who do not have a state physically.
Right.
However, their cuisine, they are as Indian as you and I.
Yeah.
And that's why every year on 24th of April and 24th of November, Chetna, the menu changes completely.
Oh.
So that we can do justice to the total palette of Indian cuisine.
Okay, so all the dishes that your chefs have learned how to make and practiced over 6 months are gone.
Yes, absolutely. So what happens is, the idea was, I cannot claim that I've given you the whole country in one menu.
Right.
You cannot eat all 70. So what we do is, we give you the recipes of those items which you couldn't eat, or the ones that you liked a lot, in a form of a bunch, printout bunch, that you can take away home. And the idea behind this is because you and I, we've been exposed to Mexican, Italian, Lebanese, Chinese, all the wonderful cuisines of this world.
Right.
Most of our cooks, Maharaj, ourselves, we've not actually been to Mexico, Italy, Lebanon.
No.
We're making it on the basis of recipes.
Right.
If an Indian man can make some Italian food on the basis of recipes in his Indian home, can I not make some Meghalaya? Can I not make some Mizoram in my Indian kitchen on the basis of recipes?
Wow, so you're not only running this for the sake of, making this a business, you're saying that I want to change the way people cook. I want them to learn what's really in the heart of India.
Yes, the intention is to bring this Indian food to their homes via a medium which is today called 29. It's in Kemp's Corner, and through this medium, we're going to make you taste those things that you understand, things that you never heard of, and then give you the recipe bunches so you have some base to make on at home. You may not like everything. I'm not claiming you like everything that we make.
Sure.
But it's still yours. It's still Indian and it's a part of you. It's your culture. So that's the idea why we give out the recipes along with serving whatever cuisine that we do.
That is just so passionate.
Thank you, very.
So Nishek, where do you source all the recipes for these wonderful dishes from?
Chetna, the main source of these recipes is obviously the people of India.
Right.
When I say that, I mean during my travel endeavors, I go to several states of our countries, and most people are actually absolutely forthcoming in giving me those recipes so that I can have their food popularized in a place where it's not known of.
Right.
And about 2 hours from Guntur into East Godavari is this place called Amlapuram.
Okay.
Now, Amlapuram is a very, very small town now. So I was kind of disheartened to see that all those people are eating actually over there. On the streets of Amlapuram is, samosas and petis and stuff like that. But I also found something which was written in almost all the roadside eateries. It was an item called punugulu.
Okay.
Now, it obviously sounded very funny to me in the first go, and I thought, I don't know what it is, but let me just give it a shot. Most places that I asked for punugulu, it was not available. It's an item which is very simple. It's rice batter along with some poha batter, mixed together. It's shallow fried with nice herbs in it. Few months later, when we opened 29, that was the first on the starter list. And Chetna, I must tell you, it was one of my fastest moving starters.
Wow.
Those guys have lost the value of it, whereas we don't even know about the existence. So it's dishes like these that I want to bring under this roof and give a taste of them to not just the people of Bombay, but even elsewhere, because they need to know what we're losing out on.
Yeah, you've also got some very interesting dishes, from the northeast.
Yes, absolutely.
Which are very uncommon.
Talking about that, I remember a very, very funny incident that happened on my first travel route. It was in Meghalaya. I normally end up living in dorms and very basic lodges, and I happened to meet this New Zealand-based couple. Well,
okay.
It was two women, and one of them happened to tell me that they're there for the third time.
New Zealand
Yes.
people in Meghalaya for the
third time, and I was there in Meghalaya as an Indian for the first time.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I don't know a lot of people who've been to Meghalaya from Bombay or around Bombay.
You will know a lot of people who've been to New Zealand.
Yes, I myself have been to New Zealand.
Okay, Nishek, you mentioned you share the recipes with the customers.
Yes.
So have you ever had customers who've tried that recipe and come back to you?
There are many such instances that I remember. One of them being on the 8th of May 2016. I got an email from a young lady whose daughter, Shiksha Saraswat, had made something that we served called the Buna Kofta Curry for a mother on Mother's Day with the help of the maid.
Okay.
And she sent us a small, emotional note along with that email. And when I shared it with my staff, especially my chefs, they had their tears in their eyes, and it was a very emotional moment for us. I felt very proud because that day I felt that I've opened at least one more 29 in somebody's home.
Yeah. And how old was Shiksha?
I think she was 11 years old, I believe.
I think you're changing cuisines going forward because that 11-year-old would have probably ordered a pizza.
Probably, that's right.
Yeah. So tell me, Nishek, there are people watching the show wanting to do a startup in the restaurant space and are thinking, how large is that space? Is it lucrative enough? Should I be there? What are the niches? So could you tell us a little bit about the space that you work in?
Despite the fact that I'm sure every of your viewers is going to be excellent competition to me, I must tell you that this is a very good space to be in commercially as well as work-wise. My only concern to each one of these guys who are watching this is that you have to be completely dedicated to it. I get a lot of people, coming up to me and telling me, I'm working as a CA or I'm working as a doctor and I want to open a restaurant. I always advise them not to look at it as a parallel option. You cannot have a business like a service-based industry as a backup.
Part-time.
Yes, because if you do that, you'll have no time for the family. You'll have no time for yourself. And that after one point will get to you. It'll break you. To your question about it being an industry which is lucrative, yes, it is. It is a very lucrative industry. From every commercial aspect, it makes a lot of sense to venture into it. There are certain parameters that you need to have checked before you get into it. Firstly, you need to have a concept which is sustainable. But after the initial 6 months of honeymoon period is when it becomes difficult to justify all those overheads. Secondly, you need to have a staff team which is reliable. You cannot be a chef and into marketing and into sales.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you choose your role, where you fit in. The kitchen is one unit that you need to have completely 100% sorted out, because that is the heart of the restaurant.
Sure.
You cannot have no knowledge and walk into it as if you're the boss over there. It's a very, very basic thing to know. The third and the most essential thing is have your finances sorted. I see a lot of nice restaurants choking up on capital, and after a few months or maybe a year after opening, they choke up that whole initial capital that they had, and they're not able to hold their own. So you got to make sure that all three parameters are taken care of, and then I don't see a reason why it will not do good if it's clean, if it's hygienic, and if the quality has been maintained along with the taste.
So Nishek, some of the viewers watching the show are surely wondering that, you've been all over the country. So has some state or city really stood out for you in terms of, your experience there?
UP, obviously, besides being the largest state of our country, is culinarily so diverse. And by UP, I don't just mean the Lucknowi cuisine. It's absolutely one of the most significant ones in the state. But I'll just talk to you about Kanpur, how diverse Kanpur is from Lucknow. They're not very far, distance-wise, and they're in the same state geographically as well. But the cuisine of Kanpur is so much more different from the Lucknowi cuisine simply because the cooking manner is different.
Okay.
In Kanpur, for example, there's this, it's one of my favorites as well. There's this dessert called the Malai Makhan or Malayo. Now, it's a dessert which is created, and I'm saying created because it's actually like a craft. It's created with the morning dew, and it's only available in winters. So what happens is, it's actually milk which has been condensed and then kept outside at 4:30 a.m. for the next 1.5 hours, where the fermentation happens with the dew. So it's completely natural, and when you have a scoop of it, I think it is smoother than creme brulee. It is fantastic. It just melts in your mouth.
Sounds
and it's something
amazing.
that we guys in Maharashtra or in Bombay or elsewhere in the city have never been exposed to. In fact, I know a lot of people from UP who've never heard about it.
Right.
This is the treasure that we have. This is the beauty of our country, that we have been confined to our regional food, but we don't know about the other regions. The second state that I would highly recommend you foodies to go to is Mizoram. Mizoram cooking is very different from what is being eaten in our households because they use a lot of herbs. They use a lot of jaggery over there. The fish cooking manner is very, very different from what you would know as from a Bengali cuisine, which is steamed or it's fried. They also cook rice in bamboo shoots. Mizoram has a very unique manner of cooking. It's kind of influenced between the Tibetan culture, and it's got a lot of influence from India as well. And it's excellent.
Wow, sounds like you really want to go there right now.
It's very tempting, I must say.
Yeah, but tell me, in all of this, were there moments when you just wanted to say, I can't go on anymore?
Well, honestly speaking, yes. There were moments, especially once the concept was ready on paper and it came up to the execution level, it was very difficult. And things got difficult simply because I did not have the right staff in the manner that I had a plan in my mind. And I'm sure a lot of your viewers, you also have this problem that they have an excellent idea in their mind, but they do not know the way to execute it.
Right.
And the way I look at it today is this process is a trial and error process. If you have a certain idea in your mind and you're confident about it, if you want to put in your money, you must make sure that you give it a shot. If you do not, you may lose your money. It can happen. But at least you learn out of it and you'll emerge stronger and clever as compared to what you were earlier on. So you make sure that you believe in your idea yourself, and once you have a concrete plan, how you're going to execute in it, there's no reason why you shouldn't. There were moments when I thought I shouldn't be doing this because I don't know if there'll be acceptability towards this cuisine. And once I'd crossed that point, it came up to bureaucracy. It came up to meeting officers at several levels of the municipal level, or it was the state, and it kind of demotivates you because people are not responsible enough to give you answers at the time when you need them, and the wait is very long. But I think if you're clear in your mind, if you're clear that you want to have this thing done, you stand by it and you make sure it happens. I'm sure each of your viewers will go through this as well, but don't be disheartened. Make sure that you have it clear in your mind. You want to do it, you must do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't.
And having run this now for a while, coming from that engineering MNC background, do you find yourself having become a totally different person?
Well, principally, yes. I've realized what a bad Indian I was before I started this. But I realized that we Indians are not proud enough of our nationality. While I was living in Germany, I used to watch soccer games and I used to feel so proud. And whenever Germany used to win, I used to wear the flag. I'd never got that feeling when India would win a World Cup. Or I never showed it on my car with the flag on my car. So this is my way of showing us Indians about the treasure that we have, about the culture, the rich culture that we have, and we should value it.
So Ruhi, you're a regular patron at 29, and how often do you come here?
Well, we're here me and my family, we come here at least once in 15 days.
Okay.
Even if I'm not here, my mom and dad definitely do come here.
And what do you love the most about the place?
Of course, the food.
Yeah.
And the owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
Because he
about,
has he always has so much more to offer, and it's always above your expectation.
Wow.
I mean, and the food is definitely to die for.
Okay. So Nishek, you have 2 outlets currently in Bombay. What are your plans going forward?
So in the next 2 years, we intend to open about 3 outlets, one each in Ahmedabad, Indore, and probably Bangalore. At the same time, we're working on a proposition of opening it beyond India, because there's a very healthy amount of people in Dubai and Singapore who deserve to be exposed to this
Yes,
cuisine.
yes.
So in the next 2.5 years, we're looking at opening about 7 in total.
Okay. And I heard somewhere that you set a date where you're only going to run this for 5 years and not run it beyond that. Is that true?
Yes, so well, on 31st of October 2021, I may shut 29 forever.
Okay.
But before I go, I will make sure that just like I opened 29 for Miss Saraswat in her family, in her home, I will make 29 reach your homes.
So it's been so wonderful talking to you. I think
Thank
you've
you,
taken
Chetna.
us on this culinary experience. I can almost feel the flavors
Yes.
of the entire country right
Yes,
now.
yes.
And wish you all the luck with
Thank you,
your
I need it.
endeavors going forward.
Thank you very much, Chetna.
you.
Thank you.
Please click the subscribe button below. Like me at facebook.com/chetchat101. Follow my Twitter handle chetchat101 or at Instagram chetchat101. Please leave your comments in the sections below. And if you'd like me to feature any particular college, please let me know. Thank you.